Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Leo March 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is as far as March goes, well, the Sun will be in Pisces from the 1st until the 20th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, there could be a lot of concentration of power, focus, and attention put into compassion, idealism, altruism in matters connected perhaps with I would say intimate relationships, a person they may be having a sexual relationship with, the idealism perhaps into matters with transformation, making a major change. But at the same time, a lot of this concentration of power and attention could be going into dealing with confounding and confusing situations regarding taxes and insurance, and even matters pertaining perhaps to death as well. Or anyway, the thing about this is that Pisces energy can often be more about lethargy than it is energy. So there might be more really about relaxation energy connected with someone you're having that intimate relationship with, or perhaps somebody, or perhaps matters with shared resources as well, and you really not really might don't have the energy maybe as much to be doing those 8th house things at this time. So anyway, the next thing up, well, the Sun will be in Aries as far as March goes from the 20th until the 31st. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Leo, well, this could be a lot of attention, concentration of power, and focus, perhaps into showing a lot of courage and fortitude, aggression and assertiveness with matters connected with the law, with higher education, with religion perhaps. It could be the expression of philosophical beliefs as well. Keep in mind that, Aries energy could be rather combative as well. And just be careful that you're not really come across as the provocateur in matters, perhaps with in-laws and grandchildren, if applicable, and especially if this transit is making a number of adverse aspects. And say, like if it's making an adverse aspect to your Mars, for example, this could be, that kind of energy can be causing a lot of acrimony and really anger and perhaps contentious argumentative situations. So anyway, next thing up is the full moon will be in Virgo on March 1st. So the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time, this could be about Leo perhaps getting tired of maybe somebody that may have been overly judgmental and critical of him or her, that may have been affecting perhaps the self-esteem and self-worth, and maybe somebody being overly judgmental and critical of one's values as well. And also this could be about the culmination or completion of the formulation of a financial plan that required a lot of attention to detail, and really maybe required a lot of that hard work in Virgo industry. So, and it could also be someone that required a lot of analysis as well. And it could be a time where maybe you've done kind of analyzing maybe matters with self-worth or with self-esteem at this time, and really the things that perhaps you value in maybe even your possessions as well at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is the new moon will be in Pisces on March 17th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, perhaps this could be perhaps the beginning of maybe initiation, so to speak, of perhaps a spiritual or even metaphysical transformation, which of course can include astrology. It could also be a time where, in some cases, it could be the beginning of a confounding and confusing tax or insurance matter, perhaps. And also, maybe even another possibility for this is could be the beginning, the start of a new intimate or sexual relationship which you embark on, which could have a lot of, I guess you could say, that has a lot of compassion in it, self-sacrifice, and really one which you approach with a lot of idealism and altruism as well. And also at the same time, looking at the eighth house, it could also be the beginning of some confusing situation, maybe regarding some kind of debt, or something connected with a credit card could be another possibility, or even really maybe approaching maybe an eighth house subject, such as something with the occult, supernatural. It could include, I mean, astrology could be another, could be one which you might use a lot of imagination with. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Pisces as far as March goes, from the 1st until the 6th. So the 8th house, again, is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, this could be perhaps more cryptic, ambiguous communications, perhaps with somebody that you're in an intimate or sexual relationship with. It could be even maybe communications with people that are involved with your taxes or insurance matters. They might be a little bit more confusing, and maybe their statements are more cryptic at this time than usual, and you're really not really understanding all of them. And also keep in mind too that Pisces energy can sometimes be gullible energy and deceptive, so it might be a time where you might be more easily led by somebody that may be someone you're having a sexual or intimate relationship with. And also don't I mean, Mercury in Pisces can also be very idealistic thinking, and sometimes can be unrealistic. So just be careful this time, Leo, that you don't, if you're trying to make a major change or transformation in your life, that you're not going overboard, or doing or trying to attempt something that might be completely, maybe even preposterous and unrealistic at this time. And also, because of the more gullibility in thought at this time, you could be more susceptible to, say, some kind of insurance fraud at this time than usual as well. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, Mercury will be in Aries as far as March goes, from the 6th until the 31st. So at this time for Leo, well, the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. It'll also be retro from the 23rd to the 31st. At this time for Leo, well, this could be a little bit more aggressive and really, well, more outspoken and impetuous in your communications, perhaps with in-laws and grandchildren, if applicable. You also might have more original, pioneering, really ideas maybe that are connected, maybe with foreign travel. It could be ideas maybe you share with foreigners, or even original philosophical thinking at this time. And the thing about this is this Aries Mercury energy could be a lot about combative and fighting words. So it's really, I mean, you do have the Mercury in retrograde from the 23rd to the 31st. So it could be a time where you could be able to maybe review a little bit more before you say something, with a lot of that impetuous and impulsive Aries energy that you may regret perhaps later on. And there might also be very forthright and outspoken communications regarding things connected with religion as well, and higher education, and maybe and also, I mean, publishing as well. You might be thinking you might be a little bit more impatient regarding something, and in terms like if you're trying to get something published at this time than usual. So anyway, well, next thing is Venus will be in Pisces as far as March goes, from the 1st until the 6th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, Leo needs to be guard against perhaps a deceptive charm, perhaps from somebody they might be in really in if they have an intimate relationship or a sexual relationship, that sexual partner may be somebody that might be giving them this deceptive charm at this time. It's also Venus and Pisces energy could be about unrealistic spending. And of course, a lot of this could depend on the aspects that this is making, if any, to natal points in your chart. And if this Venus and Pisces, say, is making an adverse aspect, say, to your natal Jupiter, that could be more unrealistic, exorbitant spending. And if it's, say, it's making an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, the opposite might happen, and you might be spending maybe much lower amounts on things that maybe than you need to at this time. So that may be 8th house related. At this time, too, though, it might be, I mean, you have Venus and Pisces can be a love of fantasy, imagination, and lethargy. So it could be a time for you where, as opposed to actually maybe doing something in terms of the 8th house and in really maybe enjoying something 8th house related, well, you could be, it's really more about relaxing than anything in a lot of cases, I think, and a lot of fantasizing, or it could be a lot of fantasizing about a sexual partner or about sex in general, but not really acting upon it. It might be in this lethargic kind of, enjoyment of lethargy, so to speak. It may make you really not want to do certain 8th house things, such as if you have to do something connected with making a major change or transformation, something with insurance, taxes, or debts. You might be more kind of in fantasy land as opposed to maybe trying to do something with it, and it could cause certain procrastination. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Aries as far as March goes from the 6th until the 31st. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, this could be more aggressive, impetuous, impulsive spending, perhaps on matters connected with higher education. It could be publishing, in-laws, grandchildren, if applicable. And at the same time, there can be an enjoyment perhaps of things that are combative and in competition. And it could be with foreigners. It could be with maybe people that you know. That are, if you're going to college or continuing your education, say at some university, it could be with in-laws, with grandchildren. This could be people that you might be part of a religious congregation with. At the same time, if Leo is unattached, they may find perhaps love, and it might be somebody that might be a prospective significant other, romantic partner that may be a sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries, or simply somebody that embodies those characteristics. And it might be somebody that they meet when they're traveling abroad, say in a foreign country. It could be somebody at a religious congregation, or maybe even somebody at a college or university that they go to. So anyway, next thing up is Mars will be in Sagittarius as far as March goes from the 1st until the 17th. So the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, Leo may put a lot of energy into perhaps even reckless gambling. It could be into certain I guess you could say a lot of exuberant, enthusiastic energy, perhaps into love, romantic relationships, matters with children. It could be into maybe some sports hobbies, perhaps, or some kind of might be creative endeavors. This could be a time, though, for Leo where the situation, perhaps with children and love, romantic partners, and even people that might maybe that figure prominently in their fun and their enjoyment. It might be the situations might be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual. And this could also be a time where Leo might find perhaps maybe working off some anger and some energy, even perhaps perhaps through doing something outdoors as something sports related, and this could be with children, and it could be perhaps with a love or romantic partner, perhaps. So anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as March goes, Mars will be in Capricorn from the 17th until the 31st. So the 6th house is will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, this could be perhaps where the situation, perhaps with employees and people that are in their daily routine. It could even be people that figure prominently in their health, or somebody, it could just be somebody that maybe they work out with, or somebody they know well at a fitness place. Those situations may be a little bit more contentious, more acrimonious than usual. There may be arguments with some of these people, perhaps over responsibilities. Now, this could also be a lot of consistent and disciplined energy injected into the work life, into matters connected with health and fitness and the daily routine. And also, really a lot of this energy, this serious energy into their employment and following the parameters, so to speak, and going right within those guidelines. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Jupiter will be in Scorpio still. So for Leo, the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for them. So at this time for Leo, well, keep in mind, as I've stated in previous videos, that Jupiter can be paradoxical. I mean, even though it's very strongly benign and benevolent, it also can have the tendency to expand and enlarge, and it can expand and enlarge perhaps surreptitious and even sometimes nefarious activity, perhaps in one's home life. It could be with the family somehow. It could be with people they feel close to home with, so to speak. And this could also be at the same time a lot of luck and fortune, perhaps through digging deep, going beyond the superficial and investigation, maybe with matters at home. It could be even getting to the bottom of one's roots, perhaps. This is also about really perhaps luck through that inner fortitude of Scorpio in matters connected with the home and family. And really there could be a lot of, I mean, Jupiter is about enthusiasm and exuberance, but keep in mind it's going to be retro from like the 8th until the 31st as far as this month goes. And during that time, it could be where Leo might be reviewing maybe some of their exuberance and enthusiasm over maybe some Scorpio-like things they may be doing out of the home. It might be things connected with investigation. It could even be even locksmithing or something connected with the occult, supernatural. Astrology could be a possibility, magic, alchemy. Those are some things that they may be reviewing during that time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Saturn will still be in Capricorn. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, Leo might experience some restrictions and limitations in matters connected with their health. It could be something in their daily routine, or even in their employment and work life. It could be government restrictions in some cases, and it could cause a lot of this Capricorn-like feeling despondent and melancholy. Could also be a time for Leo where he or she puts a lot of serious responsibility into one's health, and in some cases this could be about taking care of a debilitated or sickly fellow employee or somebody prominent in their work life, or someone they know in their daily routine. And this could really, it could be something Capricorn related, such as something connected with the knees or the bones. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Uranus will be in Aries. As far as, will still be in Aries, I should say. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo at this time. So For Leo, this could be about perhaps experiencing very ingenious, original, and unique philosophies. There might be at least one very unanticipated long distance journey that Leo has to take at this time, and something that was completely not premeditated or planned. You might be seeing in-laws and grandchildren if applicable, maybe experiencing some ingenious and even maybe unusual and bizarre behavior. It could be a time where Leo maybe becomes interested in taking a Uranus-like higher education course, such as something with the esoteric, which could include astrology, could be something with astronomy, aeronautics, computers, electronics. It really, and this is just some things to look at as far as this goes. And anyway, and also too, looking at this could be about too where, I mean, you're talking about the philosophical outlook can obviously be very original and unique, and perhaps something Uranus-like, such as something with an esoteric subject, such as astrology, may influence it at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, Leo needs to be careful. I mean, about, you're talking about Neptune and Pisces and victim-like energy. One could be more susceptible to being victimized due to some kind of insurance scam at this time, or some kind of credit card scam. Because these things could be more nebulous and unclear than usual with this energy. And also it could be dealing with confusing and confounding sexual partners, or somebody you're in an intimate relationship, tax matters, and even a death might be somewhat confusing or unclear at this time. It might be even an outlook over maybe inheritances might be a little bit fuzzy at this time and very hard to read. You might be seeing a sexual partner, someone you're in an intimate relationship with. Maybe the relationship dissipates and dissolves to some degree at this time, or this person sadly may succumb to some kind of alcohol or drug use as well, or might be showing some kind of deceptive qualities. So anyway, next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, Leo might experience maybe some power struggles at work, and maybe you showing some maybe control issues through matters connected with service, such as saying, well, I'm not going to do this for you anymore, be a service to you, and if you don't do such and such for me, maybe that strong manipulative energy as far as that goes. And also this could be in some cases sadly the obliteration or destruction of health, or some health issues connected with the metabolism and even sexual organs at this time. Also too, I mean, this could be about Leo having to deal with really deep health issues, or having to go really deep, going beyond the superficial and surface to to combat them, or to take care of them. I mean, such as, for example, going beyond just a simple basic eye exam to maybe get to the root of a problem with the eye, such as, I mean, some example, this is very isolated, but I mean, but at the same time, such as like those eye-eating parasites, something where you might have to go a little bit beyond the surface. And being in Capricorn, I know this is a generational planet, but I think it would lean, I mean, slightly more with something, though Capricorn related, such as something, with the bones, with the skin or the knees or something. So anyway, and also, too, this could be in some cases, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word. It sounds rather morose and morbid, but I'm going to say it anyway. This could be a death in some cases of somebody that you may maybe do service for, or it could be somebody that figures prominently perhaps in your health life, or maybe even somebody in your daily routine. Somebody that figures prominently in your employment. So anyway, Well, next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, I mean, when the North Node is in transit, a lot of this could be about having to confront and address issues. So you're talking about the self, so this could be about Leo having maybe to really confront themselves in a way and some of their characteristics. It could be maybe matters connected with arrogance or being overly domineering, bombastic, or overbearing. It could also be about taking pride and dignity with one's appearance, and especially if this is actually going through the literal first house in the natal chart. Also, this could be about having to perhaps start new beginnings with a lot of that Leo like self-assuredness, confidence, courage, and fortitude, and maybe even dealing somebody with their or from their early childhood that might be showing these negative Leo characteristics that I stated before, such as domineering, arrogant, overbearing, bombastic qualities, and also dealing maybe with extravagance, and maybe it could in some cases maybe just being generally extravagant, or perhaps even forced to spend more money on the self than what anticipated. So anyway, well, the next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, this could be, I mean, when you're talking about the Black Moon Lilith, this could be about a revelation or unveiling of something or somebody. This could be, in this case, this could be about perhaps an unveiling or revelation of perhaps an employee, a fellow employee, somebody prominent in their daily routine or health life. That might be showing tyrannical, ruthless, overambitious qualities, and somebody that's coming across very cold and callous. And at the same time, this could also be about a revelation that Leo doesn't want to come out of the bag, but unfortunately, maybe it could, where maybe it does, where something maybe dark and depressing may come out regarding one's health at this time, and maybe it could even be something about the work or employment life that might have a lot of restrictions and limitations, and that really that Leo did not want out of the bag, so to speak. But anyway, keep in mind too, this could also be about really an unveiling of a formidable adversary. That could be a sun, moon, or ascendant in Capricorn, and it could be somebody or that simply embodies those characteristics, and it could be somebody that maybe that Leo is giving service to. It could be somebody in the daily routine, a person that figures prominently in their health and or maybe even in their employment. So anyway, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Leo. So at this time for Leo, well, Leo might be experiencing maybe some emotional wounds and suffering, perhaps connected with the dissipation or dissolving of a relationship that they're having, in terms of, I should say, an intimate relationship they're having, or a sexual relationship. It could be being beguiled or deceived in some kind of insurance fraud or scam, or credit card fraud or scam, and even maybe some suffering dealing with maybe being overly passive and trying to make a major change or transformation, being too lethargic, not taking the initiative. And it could be also maybe in some cases, and especially if it's an older person, maybe the dissipation, dissolving of a sexual urge at this time, and maybe perhaps being delusional, perhaps over matters pertaining to emotional and moral support. And when I'm saying this, what I'm basically stating is maybe counting on more emotional or moral support than maybe what they're going to get, or being overly idealistic in that sense, expecting more when it doesn't happen, so more than what they actually are going to receive. So anyway, well, keep in mind though that Chiron is the wounded healer, so in matters that Leo is having going through suffering connected with Chiron in Pisces and the 8th house, they could actually be able to help others going through comparable situations, and doing so with that Pisces-like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Leo March 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Virgo March 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.